Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another rendition of the Halo Effect. As usual, I'm your host, Robert Lockhart. Hey, stocks and baseball, huh? So, over the last week, what have we seen? We've seen the big Korean outfielder, Jung-Hoo Lee, go to the Giants on a 6-year deal. Well, it's good for them. They lost out on well, pretty much everybody else. So, hey, you got something. Good job, San Francisco. From what I understand, they're also in on Cody Bellinger. I don't see that happening. I see him either staying with the Cubs or going to the Blue Jays. It's going to be one of the two. The Blue Jays seriously need an outfielder to go along with Dalton Varsho and George Springer. Another good left-handed bat. He's a good left-handed bat, to say the least. Now, again, when it comes to Cody Bellinger, he has had a history of injuries, so let's hope he stays healthy. That's the big key for him, is staying healthy. In other news, the Dodgers are still at it. They signed the biggest prize in sports to a record 10-year, $700 million deal, and they're still making deals. That has a lot to do with the fact that Shohei Ohtani did defer the large majority of his contract. I mean, if I didn't mention it before, he'll be making $2 million a year for the next 10 years while on contract with the Dodgers. It's after his playing days are over that he'll be receiving $68 million for 10 years from the Dodgers. All of it will be off the books. The Dodgers can spend and be competitive. Hey, Showtime, did you offer that to anybody else? Or was that just the Dodgers? Sounds like you just had your heart set on going to Hollywood. You know what? I'm mad enough to admit when I was wrong. I thought the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, the demand of the media attention, was going to drive you nuts. I mean, it drive me crazy, I know that for sure. But that's just me. But you made your choice. You now are wearing Dodger blue, and, well, good luck to you. So, the deal that was made just so happens to be the big Tyler Glasnow deal. He was the big pitcher on the trade market that was most likely to be moved. And it wasn't going to get done until there was actually an extension. And the Dodgers signed him to a 5-year, $135 million deal. So for the next 5 years, Tyler Glasnow is going to be a Dodger. And they can still spend money on Yoshinobu Yamamoto. They can still be competitive with that guy. Now, grant you, the Red Sox and I believe the Yankees have offered him a $300 million contract. The Dodgers still have enough cap space. They can equal that. And they got Shohei. I mean, if that's not enough incentive to have Yamamoto come to the Dodgers, I don't know what is. So, with that said, guys, look out for the Dodgers. They're pulling out all the stops. They're saying, enough is enough. We're done with this. Time to kick some ass. So, that's exactly what they're doing. And they still have great amount of pieces, for their rotation, for their lineup. Even with Shohei, they still have Mookie Betts. They still have Freddie Freeman. They still have Max Muncy. They still have these cornerstone big-time hitters in their lineup. On their mound, they still have Walker Buehler. They still have Bobby Miller. No, they don't have Julio Urias anymore. I'm sorry, he's a free agent right now. But they have some major guns. Now they have Glasnow, and they're still going after Yamamoto. Holy crap. My God. Again, they're not messing around anymore. They're really not screwing around. I do believe, however, they need to change the name of the franchise, from the Dodgers to Yankees of the West. Because that's exactly what you guys are doing. You're being the Yankees. Buying everybody. Grant you, yes, the old argument is, well, the money's got to go somewhere. I got a better idea. How about renovations? How about renovations of the stadium? Lowering prices? Sounds like a good idea, I think. Instead of dealing out a ton of money to these guys who are playing a game. Seriously, game. So, anyway, with that said, that's pretty much all the news that's really happened this week. Nothing really major. Obviously, Otani was introduced. Lee was introduced. Um, let's see. I know I've heard that Baltimore and Atlanta are the two big teams in on Dylan Cease with the White Sox. It stands to reason. They got the pieces necessary to, really kind of go get the guy. But then again, so do the Dodgers. They had plenty of, space for, they had plenty of prospects to go get Dylan Cease too. But they got Glass now and they're in on Yamamoto. So I think that's where they're going to be staying. So Dylan Cease to either Baltimore or the Braves. Well, if you think about them with Baltimore, they have an emerging pitching staff that looks pretty good, with both Keller and Rodriguez looking pretty hot. The Braves have an amazing rotation. I mean, my goodness, an amazing rotation. You add Dylan Cease to that, you talk about adding fuel to the fire. My lord. So anyway, with that said, on to the Halos news. There is none. There's no news. The Angels have done nothing all week. They might be, working some deals that we just haven't heard about. Maybe they're in on Corbin Burns in Milwaukee. I sincerely hope so. You need that ace. Get that ace. Because you got nobody in the rotation to do it. If you think you do, you would be wrong. You think Reed Detmer's going to lead that rotation? Mm-mm. No, he's not even a viable number 2. He's a number 3 at best. Patrick Sandoval, again, a very good number 2, but a number 2. He's not a number 1. He's not that bulldog to go every 5 days that you can rely on. And not to mention, he still has his issues. He still has his control problems. Detmers has a hard time getting out of the 4th inning, so does Canning. What do you got? Silseth? Nope. Sorry. Silseth, much like Sandoval, is a viable number 2. He's not a number 1. Not by any stretch of the imagination. However, you want to try to prove me wrong, by all means, go ahead. However, with that said, I'm still going to say, you need the ace. You need the big guy. Corbin Burns is that guy for you. He's not going to cost nearly as much as Glasnow would have. You can extend him. He's not going to cost as much. Don't know why. I think he's better because he's more reliable. He stays on the mound. Glasnow has a tendency to get hurt. So with that said, Burns. Go get Corbin Burns. I don't care what you have to give up at this point. Just obviously not Trout. that's a given. He ain't going anywhere. If you have to give up one of your rotation pieces, like I don't know, Detmers or Canning or even like Rosenberg, who's an emerging guy, you know what? Do it. Honestly, I don't even think Rosenberg is like a rotation guy. I think he's a swing dude. I think he is mostly long relief, but can spot start every now and again. That's Rosenberg to me. So, anyway, but yeah, at this point in time, I don't care what you have to give up. If you have to give up one of those rotation pieces, do it. And with that said, again, if you have to give up one of the rotation pieces, I know there is a viable starter on the free agent market in Blake Snell who could probably fill that role. So if you give up a left-hander like Detmers, a loss, not a big one in my mind. To get Corbin Burns and then you sign Blake Snell, it's kind of worth forfeiting that second-round pick in 2024. Because, like I said, if you can trade for Corbin Burns and extend him and then, get Blake Snell for long-term, you got the cap space now. Might as well do it. That would be a good 1-2 punch. Corbin Burns and Blake Snell for like the next 6 years, 7 years, what have you. That looks pretty good. A lot of people are saying, Blake Snell is good for the head of the rotation. Honestly, I don't think so. He was when he was with Tampa Bay. When he went to San Diego, he started having some issues. Yes, he's a two-time Cy Young Award winner, but the last few years he has had some trouble really kind of making it through 5 innings. By the time he reaches the fifth, most of the time, he's like at 90 pitches. So rarely does he really get the win because he doesn't go the full term. You know? He gets out of jams. He gives up like 1 or 2 runs per game, which is good, but he gets into a lot of jams. And he expels a lot of pitches. So I don't see him as a viable number 1. A 1B, I believe, is what Dan Plesac put it. A 1B style pitcher. Yeah, he's the type of guy who is also an ace, but he's number 2 in a rotation. See what I'm saying? So, now, as for replacing Shohei's bat, that's very difficult. The best option you have is actually going out and getting J.D. Martinez. He put up phenomenal numbers. Granted, yes, he's 36 years old. Ohtani's only 29. But he still put up great numbers. He put up all-star numbers. There's something to say for that. You know, if Martinez can still put those numbers up, hey, he's not tied to a draft pick. Go out and get him. He's your DH. Have him fit in the lineup behind Mike Trout or behind Rendon for the beginning of the season until Rendon gets hurt, because we know he's going to. Prove me wrong, Anthony. Prove me wrong. But honestly, yeah, that's what I would do. That's me. I put it on you to actually do what needs to be done. But in this case, like I said, what I would do, trade for Burns and extend him for like the next 7 or 8 years, because he's 29. Why not? Go out and sign Blake Snell to pitch behind him. That's how you're going to be competitive on the mound, is having those 2 guys, followed by however you want to set up your pitching staff. Go out and get J.D. Martinez for your lineup to bat in like number 4 or 5. You know, he's your big bat. Other things that can happen. I know you could probably maybe you can make a deal with the Cardinals to bring in Alec Burleson. Looked pretty good in his rookie season. Not rookie of the year, but good left-handed power bat, and is a good run producer. So, maybe that could be a possibility. I'm just spitballing here, guys. I'm really kind of throwing things out there, hoping that somebody will pick up on this. That might be a good idea. So, ladies and gentlemen, going forward, if the Angels want to be competitive, they got to start making moves, and they got to do that, pretty quick, because these guys are going to be falling off the table. I know Milwaukee wants to keep Burns for the rotation. For anybody in Milwaukee, now's the time to actually trade him, because you're not going to re-sign him. I guarantee it. If you trade him now, you get more value, and that's kind of where you want to go with that. You want to get as much value for him as humanly possible. If you trade him mid-season, he's a half a season rental, and you're not going to get as much value for him. So that's unfortunate. For anybody listening out there, I know Brandon Woodruff is still a free agent. Now, I know he's not going to pitch in 2024, but there's no saying you can't sign him to a minor league deal. Have him recover, rehab, then sign him to a 3-year deal with a couple of options. See how he does via his rehab. Again, spitballing here. So, with that said, I think I'm going to end it there, and I will see you guys soon, and go Halos.